Hi, welcome. I think that may have worked. If not, I will be re-recording this and you won't have to listen to this part. So that was a slight waste of time. I will work on learning how to edit out these little bits in the beginning. But in any case, welcome. I am Chava, life coach and practitioner of Chinese medicine. I am here to answer your questions about life, the universe, and everything from a holistic Chinese medicine and how to make life better in general perspective. I am yet again experiencing with visual aids. I was asked this question a while ago and I was saving it until I came up with some sort of way to have graphic elements in this video because I thought that might be helpful. I am yet again playing around with ways to include these graphics in the video. I hope this works out. Last time it worked well, other than the audio slipping. Theoretically, that is not happening anymore. So we'll charge ahead and hope for the best. So today's question is yet another question that I was asked after the video about Chinese medicine and emotions. And this question is, how can we bring ourselves back to center, to the healthy medium from an extreme emotion? So to give a little bit of a recap on what I talked about in the previous video, which you are welcome to go and watch. I will put a link in the notes. In Chinese medicine, in the philosophy of Chinese medicine, we look at emotions as more of a spectrum than a single emotion. So when we look at, for example, joy or happiness, we're looking at the entire spectrum of emotions from basically depression, from ahedonia, from the inability to experience joy, to mania, to an excessive, overwhelming joy that actually causes us to lose connection with reality and with the people around us, where the healthy medium, the area where we want to live, what we think of as actually true joy, as healthy, as the healthy emotion, is a joy or a happiness that helps connect us to the people around us and to the world around us. The emotion, I think I can point with my little pointer here. So that's the emotion of joy, which is connected with the element or the energy of fire. The emotion of the earth energy. I wrote here caring. It's sometimes called nurturing. It's sometimes called worrying. It's sometimes called obsessing. Again, depending on where in the spectrum you are trying to name, you can use different words in English. But the general idea is it's the feeling of wanting to care for or wanting to look after or take care of someone or something. And it can range over the spectrum from complete neglect to obsession, with healthy caring in the middle. The next one we have here is, I wrote gratitude / grief. Usually it's translated into English as grief, but what we're really talking about is the ability to value someone or something, whether they're present or whether you have it or whether you don't have this object or have a relationship with this person anymore. The next emotion that's usually translated as fear, and this is it can be everything from a paralyzing fear to a kind of manic, running around, yelling, uncontrolled fear. With the healthy medium, as it were, being the fear of not living up to our potential and not being our true selves, the fear that propels us forward in life. And then we have the emotion, which is usually translated as anger, where again, one end of this spectrum is the feeling that something isn't right, and yet I can't change it. I don't think I have the ability, or I don't think I am allowed to, or I don't see how I will ever be able to. That's frustration that I keep inside, I don't express, and it's the anger kind of becomes turned against me, myself, my own body. Or at the other extreme, anger that causes me to shout and yell and explode all over the place and be nasty to everyone, but is not actually directed at what is actually making me angry. And the healthy medium is the emotion that something needs to change, leading to actions and behaviors that will change what is currently wrong in my life. Okay, so the question is now, assuming I am at an extreme end of an emotion, how can I bring myself back to center? Um, so there are a couple different ways that we can look at the emotions and the relationships between them. Obviously, first of all, if you're at a very extreme emotion, and you're kind of feel stuck there, maybe you can't necessarily do all the work yourself. Maybe you need therapy or medical interventions. Certainly, talking about extreme depression or chronic outbursts of anger. Mania, obsessive behavior. They're at the very, very extreme ends. We may need help. But assuming that I'm not talking about a medical condition, but rather a case where I'm just kind of feeling stuck in an emotion, where I'm not able to really work through the emotional processing I have to do and release the feeling, but I'm just kind of feel trapped in it. There are a couple different ways that we can try and work with that emotion. So as I said, each of these emotions, anger, joy, caring, gratitude / grief, and fear, or whatever we want to call them, each one in its place of the healthy medium leads to a specific type of action. Anger, a healthy anger, causes us to change the things in our life or around us that we think are wrong and that shouldn't be that way. A healthy joy causes us to connect to other people. A healthy feeling of caring or the desire to nurture, again, causes us to connect to people around us and to take care of things as they come up, maybe to look a bit ahead into the future and plan what may need to happen, to do essential maintenance. It's not one of the big exciting emotions, but it's a really important one to have a comfortable day-to-day life. Gratitude or grief both lead to us valuing, appreciating and valuing someone or something and expressing that appreciation that we have for them. And a healthy fear causes us to take action to improve our lives. Again, to study for a test because we're afraid of failing, or to reach out to someone who's not talking to us because we're afraid we may have harmed that relationship. One of the ways you can tell if you're in the healthy part of the emotional spectrum is this emotion causing you to take action that will improve things, improve your life, improve your relationships. If not, you can, if you know what emotion you're feeling and you know where you're stuck, say you're really, really angry and you're snapping at everyone. You know you're angry, you know you're snapping at everyone, and you know that what this anger is supposed to be doing is to cause you to change something that is bothering you in life, something that you feel is wrong, something that's inappropriate, something that shouldn't be that way. Well, one of the things you can try doing is looking at your life and trying to find what it is that's upsetting you and seeing if there's any change you can make, even a very small change. A lot of the times when we're stuck in this feeling of I'm angry and I don't know why, it's either because we haven't really faced up to what is bothering us. Maybe we just haven't taken the time to think about it, or it's too scary to think about. That, maybe what's really bothering me is my relationship with my mother. That's pretty scary. I might not want to open that can of worms. Or that I really hate something about my job, and if I start looking at that and taking it seriously, I'm going to need to consider whether this is actually the career I want. So we might have reasons to avoid digging in and trying to understand what's going wrong. One thing that I like to do for circumstances like this, where someone's feeling an emotion, where I'm feeling an emotion, and I don't even know why and what's bringing it up, is just to write, kind of like to journal, to do some free writing, where I'll just take a clean piece of paper and I'll write at the top, I want, and then see what else happens. Just like let my hand go free, let it write, or I don't want. And that can even be a stronger one sometimes, and that can really help. bring things up to the surface that maybe we're not dealing with. If you know what's making you angry, you've uncovered it, and you don't know how to change it, you can try breaking the problem down into the smallest possible steps and trying to find one thing you can do to take some action to improve this situation. Right? And that's the same not just for anger, but for the other emotions. If you're worried about something, right? If you end up on the obsessive end of caring and you're worrying and worrying and you're turning something over your head and you can't let it go, try and understand what's worrying you, why it's worrying you. See what actual steps you can take. I'm sorry, the cat is chewing on the power cord. No, no. Speaking of things that worry me, she's going to electrocute herself one day. Sorry about that. See what practical steps you can take towards dealing with the object of your worry. If you're afraid and you don't know why, you can try, again, try journal prompts, try meditation, try just talking to someone saying, hey, can I chew your ear off? I have to work through something. Try and understand what you're scared of and take one tiny step to face up to it. If you're afraid of speaking in public, then, ask two friends maybe if you can talk to them and chew their ears off. Find one little thing you can do to help improve the situation, and that's going to, as soon as you've kind of released the pressure on this emotion that you're holding in, that you're not allowing to perform its proper task of directing you towards action, you're going to be pulled less to the extreme end. You're going to be able to bring yourself more back to a place of emotional stability, and from there it'll be easier to plan your next action. But try and take tiny steps towards resolving the situation which is causing the emotion. That's one technique, and that's kind of a working within the spectrum of that emotion, right? If we're angry, we're trying to find out why we're angry, we're trying to deal with it. If we're afraid, we're trying to find out why we're afraid and deal with it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's one technique, that's working within the spectrum of each emotion. Another technique, as you see, I put you can admire my great canvas skills. I put a bunch of little arrows connecting all of these emotions. So these arrows on the outside that go from anger to joy to caring to gratitude to fear and back to anger. This is called the Shang Cycle. This is the nourishing cycle or the feeding cycle. Because the idea is that each of these emotions or each of these energies feeds the one that comes after it, right? So if I'm really happy, then I'm going to feel more caring and more nurturing. This is actually something they've done studies on, and we know it's the case. If I really care about someone, I'm going to appreciate them more. I'm going to feel gratitude for them. And likewise, I'm going to feel more grief if something happens to that person or that relationship. If I value something very greatly, then I will have more fear that I might lose it or that I won't live up to the expectations placed on me. And when I'm afraid, I'm going to get angry because, again, anger is the emotion that drives me to change whatever it is that's bothering me, whatever it is that I'm afraid of. And anger, properly expressed anger, which causes a healthy change in our life, leads back to joy. So if I'm feeling stuck in some area, like I'm at the obsessive end of caring, or even at the neglectful end of caring. I care about someone or something, getting it taken care of, but either I'm obsessing and worrying about it more than I'm actually acting to take care of this thing, or I can't bring myself to do what I need to do in order to take care of it because I'm stressed, I've got too much on my plate, it's not a top priority, but I think it should be. In any case, one of the things I can do is I can kind of try and take that energy, which is stuck in this area of caring, and the energy is stuck because it's not leading to the action that it should. We're just staying in the emotion, in the feeling, without it leading to the action that needs to be taken to properly take care of whatever I need to take care of. So I can try and actively take that energy, take the feeling, take the strength of the emotion from this feeling of caring into this place of gratitude or even of grief. And so if I want to take care of something or someone, and I'm not taking as good care as I want, maybe I'm in a relationship and I'm not expressing caring towards my partner as much as I would want to, I can try and meditate or focus on how grateful I am to be with this person and how much I appreciate them. Or on how sad I would be if something happens to this person or to our relationship. Um, likewise, if I'm stuck in a place of anger where I'm very frustrated or I'm I'm explosive, I'm just feeling angry all the time, I can try and think, how would I need to act, or how would I need to feel, or what would I need to do to take me to a place where I am feeling happy and where I want to reach out to other people and connect with them. What sort of action could I take, rather than thinking like what's making me angry and what do I need to do to fix it? Think, what could I do that would move me into a place of joy and connection? And then take those actions. So that's another way that we can use the emotions, not within one emotion, but trying to transform one emotion where maybe our energy is kind of stuck, where we're not feeling capable of really dealing with whatever is causing us this emotion right now. So we're going to try and get out of that place of stuckness and move into another emotion where we're not feeling as blocked, or we're not feeling that sorry, cat again, where we're not feeling that our energy is constrained. And so if you're feeling angry, you can try moving into a place of joy. From joy, if you're feeling a little depressed, or you're feeling a little like manic energy, restless, anxious, you can try to moving from that into a place of caring and nurturing for someone or something. If you're not able to properly care for or nurture something, whether you're feeling neglectful or you're feeling like this obsessive worry, try and move into a place of gratitude and appreciation. If you're stuck in a feeling of grief, or in a feeling of like you're unable to really care for and appreciate something the way you would want to, if you're not feeling gratitude, you can move from there into a place of fear, not paralyzing fear, but a healthy fear. Just literally sit and think, how could this go wrong if I don't take care of it, if I don't appreciate it? What would I feel like if this relationship doesn't work out, if something happens to this person? If you're stuck in a place of fear and you feel like you're frozen, you can't take a step forward because you're too scared of what might happen next, or you're lashing out because you're scared. If you're lashing out, then the fear is already by itself kind of turning into anger. But if you're feeling stuck and paralyzed, you can turn your fear into anger in order to get you moving. So this is another way of working with emotions. This is called the Shang Cycle, the nurturing cycle, the nourishing cycle, the feeding cycle, each emotion feeding into the next one. All right. And one more thing I would say before moving on is that when we're talking about things that you can do within an emotion or between the emotions, you don't have to be stuck with just the energy that you're sitting with at the moment. You can bring in help from the outside. You can get other people. So if you're feeling stuck in one particular area, if you're not feeling like you can care for yourself the way you'd like to, and you're feeling very neglectful towards yourself, maybe you can talk to a friend who cares about you and get them to just give you some energy of caring. They can care for you, they can care about you, and you can just kind of adopt their energy. You don't have to be alone with any one of these. You can get an extra boost of any one of these energies from outside of yourself. If you're feeling really, really frustrated and miserable because I don't know, your boss is always mean to you, maybe you can get together with some other coworkers and take some of their anger in to help motivate you either to find a new job, or to speak up, or to change whatever is going wrong in your work situation. So you don't have to be alone with any one of these, and any of these techniques you can use with outside help. Okay. And then, so I just want to make sure to say that. And then moving on to the third cycle, or the third technique. If you see, we have these little interior arrows, which did not form a neat pentagon because I successfully overcame my perfectionism and my Canva issues. Um, but we can see that we have these little arrows leading from anger to caring, from caring to fear, from fear to joy, from joy to gratitude or grief, from gratitude or grief to anger. And these are it's called the controlling cycle or the overcoming cycle or the suppressing cycle. And the idea is that each one of these energies has the ability to kind of kick the one that it's pointing at's butt a little. Like if you're stuck in worry or in this feeling of you're not able to care for something the way you want, if you can get angry, the anger is going to kick your stuck emotion and get it going again. If you're really, really scared and you're kind of paralyzed and unable to move, if you can summon up a great desire to care for or to nurture someone or something, you can let that emotion push you over the hump of fear. If you are feeling depressed, or if you're having the crazy restlessness of like over happy, in Chinese that's generally considered to be a kind of nearly anxious inability to settle down. If you can summon up fear about something, fear that you're always going to be depressed, fear that you're never going to settle down and get to work, then that might give you the push to take some action and get yourself out of that place. If you're stuck in grief and you can experience joy, then that can give you a push to get moving. I know that when I was seeing a grief counselor after my mother passed, and one of the pieces of homework she gave me was to watch a comedy special every day. She's like, you just have to laugh. It doesn't matter if you mean it. It doesn't matter if you're really happy. If you can watch someone funny enough that you just have to laugh no matter what's going on in the background, that is going to help improve your mood, and it's going to help improve all of your functioning. And she really was right. So if you need any comedy specials, I have a playlist. um, and finally, if you're stuck in this feeling of anger or resentment, or frustration, then the ability to really feel gratitude for what you do have, or to let yourself feel the grief for what you've lost or what you're lacking that's actually making you feel the anger, can help get you out of this stuck place of just being angry and just sitting there and eating your liver. And again, this is something you can get help with. If you're grieving and you don't feel like you can make yourself happy, you can get people to try, tell you terrible jokes. Um, if you're not able to take care of yourself, you're just kind of like not someone who can do things for yourself. You can take care of everyone else, but you kind of neglect yourself. Someone else can be angry on your behalf to get you moving. So these are some of the techniques that you can use to help balance your emotions, I guess you could say. Obviously, in Chinese medicine, we have a ton of other things you can do. We can work with diet, and we can work with exercise, and we can work with physical. We can work with acupuncture, or we can press on various acupuncture points to help relieve the emotions that have gotten stuck in the body. But in terms of the more psychological aspects, this is more or less how the emotions are viewed. So I would love to hear if this was helpful, if this answered your question. If anyone else has any questions on this subject or on related subjects or on completely different subjects, feel free to let me know. And please let me know how you like the new visual aids, and if I should keep doing this or go back to just staring at the camera. I expect that there'll be some videos where the visual aids will be more helpful and some where they're less relevant. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say for today. So take care, stay warm or cool, depending on where you are, and have a great day. Bye.